Do you have any good mascot stories? Who is your favorite and best mascot? I believe Alabama should have a live elephant. Colin, I think it was you who said this the other day. So Director Colin and I are in total agreement here. There are some reasons, practically, why a full-grown live elephant would not work around 101,000 people, but I can think of many more reasons why it would work. So if you think of a clever hashtag, we can start that campaign here. But as for mascots that actually exist, there is no mascot out there that is a person in a suit that gets me fired up. I need a true living, breathing animal, firstly, and so I have isolated 3 of them. One of them is Ugga, not Hairy Dog, Ugga, the actual bulldog. So let's see, it would be 3 or 4 years ago, Georgia went to LSU, one of like a couple of times in the past century that they've made that trip down there with the way the SEC schedule currently works. So I was down there for the game, always loved going to Tiger Stadium. Well, here was the interesting facet. If you are like me, most of you are, you just grew up loving college football. I did not grow up and then go to journalism school straight out of high school and then go straight to working as a beat writer straight out of college. I didn't do that. There was a huge chunk of my young adulthood where, as you know, I was working in the fabric warehouse, just a college football fan, in the state of Georgia, no less. So, my Saturdays, there was a lot of Georgia football, watched a lot of SEC football, but I would always see the mascot from afar. And I would always think about all these Georgia buddies of mine whose dad went to school there, or whose brother played there, and they'd all have pictures of them with Ugga up on their walls when I would go to their house. And I would have like a hot dog in my hand or something. Like that's as close as I got to a picture with a famous dog. So anyway, fast forward, and all of a sudden I, out of all of those people, end up in a business that puts me in direct contact with Ugga. So anyway, this is where we go to Tiger Stadium. So we're down there, it's a 3:30 game, it's really hot. I'm in a room that is reserved post-game for the visitors' press conference. But during the game, because these stadiums are old and there aren't just limitless amounts of locker rooms, during the game, a lot of times those post-game media rooms are used for cheerleaders to have like a kind of a side locker room. The officials will sometimes be in there, but also the mascots will be in there. So I am the only person in the room. I'm just sitting on the floor. I'm watching games on my laptop. The mascot team brings Ugga in, the actual bulldog, and he sits there. And so, I kid you not, for about 15, 20 minutes before this game, most surreal experience, if I really stopped and thought about it for a second, it was me sitting on the floor, and it was that bulldog, Ugga, sitting next to me on the floor, and then his handler was in there. And I just thought to myself, if I were to rewind 10 years, and then I would show myself that somehow, some way, 10 years from now, this will be you, and you will not have snuck into this room. Some entity will be paying you to be there. I would have thought to myself, well, what planet is that happening on? Certainly not Earth. Certainly not this lifetime. So that was the first story. I'll always remember that. And then the second story came from this past year when I was at the Red River Shootout, not to be called anything else on this program. And Oklahoma, Texas are just having a wild back and forth game, like over 100 combined points, highest point total in series history. And so most of the game I was in the Oklahoma end zone because at the Cotton Bowl they have a single tunnel. And so the media room, I'm not going to go as far as to call it a suite because the Cotton Bowl was built just after the Revolutionary War, I think. So the media room is in the Oklahoma end zone. Therefore, I have no reason to go all the way down to the Texas end zone. And it's pretty close quarters on the sideline there too, so it's not the easiest thing to get back and forth. Well, I'm in the Oklahoma end zone most of the game. Bevo is not in that end zone. He's in the Texas end zone. So later in the game, as Texas is about to try and drive to retake the lead or to tie the game, I decide, you know what, I'm going to go down there because I thought the game may end down there. Not a lot of time left. Texas has got the ball. They're about to try and go on a drive. So I get down to the Texas end zone. Now, as it turns out, they went and scored in like 3 or 4 plays, and Xavier Worthy's going off, true freshman, over 250 yards receiving that day. He catches a touchdown pass, and that place goes crazy. And, you got the cannon firing, and everyone's losing their mind. So I've got the iJosh in my hand, and I'm trying to do like the panoramic, turn all the way around. And as I turned, I was face to face with Bevo. Very large animal, huge. Horns as far as the eye can see either direction. He's right in front of me. And as everyone else is going crazy, the juxtaposition is this guy is not moving. He's just standing there. He's not even moving a muscle. I don't think he blinked. He was totally unfazed by the chaos around him. So I had a newfound respect for him, and I was also very close to him. Probably could have gotten a little head swipe or two in. No one would have seen me, but that's the first time I'd seen Bevo in person. That was fun, even though nothing really happened. Then the third story is also from earlier this year, and it was in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was when Ole Miss was in town. A lot of you remember this because trash rain down on the field and Lane Kiffin, Odell Beckham, the water bottle, but that's why I remember it too, I won't lie. But there's another thing that happened. Smokey, who I've been around a few times, is the Tennessee mascot. Now, when it's a little more chilly outside, as it was that night, I think the temperatures were in the 40s by the time the game ended, Smokey takes off his normal little checkered outfit. Colin, I don't know what you guys call that. I call it a checkered outfit. And he put on a full blanket, a little fleece blanket. I don't think it was one of those knockoffs they sell at flea markets around the South where they're illegally using the licensing of the team. I think it was authentic. I think it was a university-issued fleece blanket for Smokey. So he's wrapped in it. Now, a lot of times, as I said, in these games, this is not the NFL. It's not a sanitized environment. So you find yourself in some pretty interesting situations. Like you'll be standing next to those mascots a lot. At Auburn, you'll be next to a bald eagle before you even know it. Well, at Tennessee this past year, I am during a commercial break, I think, or maybe between plays, I squat in like a catcher stance just to, save wear and tear on the knees and because I'm tired. Smokey's next to me. And I didn't realize it because I'm so focused, but it's dipped into the mid-40s. It's kind of cold, and I did not have a jacket on. I mean, I was wearing a t-shirt like I'm wearing right now. I was a little bit cold too, but when I got down in that catcher stance, I was like eye to eye with Smokey, who's just sitting next to me. Very quiet, very reserved. But I kind of glance over, and he's shivering a little bit. He's a little cold, He's not unaffected. And so, as I told Jesse earlier today, I don't know why I did it, because I know he cannot understand English. And I know that no one was filming me, so I wasn't doing it for show. But I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and we're both kind of shaking. And I said, "Me too, buddy." Straight face. He didn't say anything back. And I stood right back up, and the game went on. And it ended the way it ended. But in that moment, I felt like we connected. So I talked to Smokey. He's cold, I'm cold, we're both shivering, ready to get out of there. Me too, buddy. I'll never forget that. And I doubt that he will either. So those are 3 mascot stories I have. I haven't been around when some of the crazy things have happened. Like Bevo and Uga, we just talked about both of them. They actually got into it almost at the Sugar Bowl. It would have been a very quick fight. But yeah, we're showing footage of it if you're watching the video. Like this right here, no, I wasn't around for that. That would have been a sight to behold. Get out of there, buddy. Yeah, get out. It's for the best. So mascots, live mascots, it's unpredictable, but it's an element I love about college football.